we don't stop them either from attacking inside Russia, these neo-Nazis. And that's the same thing that Tony Blinken said when asked, I think it was by David Ignatius on Press Freedom Day, about the Kremlin, the attempt to assassinate Vladimir Putin with a drone attack on the Kremlin. So this is the kind of rhetoric we're getting from the official spokesperson of the State Department after a neo-Nazi raid, cross-border raid, sponsored by Ukraine's government.
And just going back to what you mentioned, this was the gray zone back. This is you back in 2018. The U.S. is arming and assisting neo-Nazis in Ukraine while Congress debates prohibition. So, and
that you can see in some of those photos. Well, that's a U.S. rocket launcher. It's a U.S. rocket launcher. It's like the PSIL-1. But you can see if you just stop it right there. I mean, these are, circled. You can see the Azov flag here and the U.S. flag. This is a U.S. officer. And Denis Prokopenko, who is the official military head of the Azov battalion, the person who was put in place of Andrei Beletsky until Beletsky returned recently. Prokopenko was a part of that training session with U.S. and Canadian officers.
Beletsky was recently quoted in the New York Times as just some military person. Didn't even mention that he's a Nazi. He's just happens to be a Ukrainian military officer. Didn't mention who he actually is. I mean, just the normalization of neo-Nazis. No one has done it more than liberal media outlets like the Times. It's off the charts.
He's just a patriot, or he's a Ukrainian activist. Didn't they call him an activist?
I'll have to double check. That's yeah.
Well, I understand from the leader of the Russian Volunteer Corps who gave this press conference, Denis Nikitin, and he's not to be confused with the Patch, that he said to expect more cross-border raids. And this appears to be a tactic that it betrays desperation, along with all the terrorist attacks being carried out by dubious elements backed by the Ukrainian SBU inside Russia against writers and intellectuals who support the Russian war effort. It suggests there isn't a whole lot of progress on the battlefield.